You were a leader in the locker room for sure. How would you handle teammates like Dez or Odell?
You know, I think a lot of people don't pay attention to this. And I was speaking about this because it goes all the way back to true leadership in the locker room, right? I'm talking about take the coaching out of it because coaching can only coach you so far. But when you talk about how to patrol a locker room, I've played with personalities like Odell and like Dez and all of, and I've also mentored a bunch of those personalities to simply tell them you don't have to bring more attention on yourself. I guarantee you, there's enough lights and there's enough cameras that it will find you. But when you think about what these guys are doing, I heard you guys earlier, and when you think about what this new era is all about, right? It's about the Twitters, it's about everybody who's following me, and I'm so popular. You know, I said this a while ago. Don't put Odell Beckham in Jerry Rice category just yet. After one catch, yeah, you make him a superstar. I get it, right? He's the next new thing, but I don't know if they understand the curve, Skip, on what it takes to be great, right? Good is finding one or two plays every now and then, and right? But greatness is consistently year after year after year after year. And when you think about these guys now, these guys are superstars the moment they do one thing, the moment they do one big thing. You take Clowney, right? You take Clowney, what he did in college. One big play. Like one big play in college, and oh my gosh, he's the greatest thing ever. And I'm sitting there saying, have we studied his entire body of work yet? Because if we haven't studied his entire body of work, then we're crowning these guys way too quickly. But these type of personalities need one-on-one attention, and it can't come from the coach. One of the things I've always did when I had personalities like this is, Coach, I got it. Grab him, and you isolate him away from the facility because they won't understand it at the facility because the facility is based off almost two things. Wins and losses, it really don't matter to a bunch of guys, right? It matters, am I going to the Pro Bowl? Am I getting paid? Am I getting paid? Am I the next one in line? And so that's the thing that really kind of resonates with a bunch of these guys. But when you grab them and you sit them down and isolate them for a minute, let me talk to you, man. The game is way bigger than you, and it will always be bigger than you. And if the team has success, you have success. But a lot of guys go out of their way to have individual success. Team success and individual success is totally two different things because you have to be a very selfish person to think about individual. Now, we've watched this many times before Odell, before Dez Bryant came into the league, with other guys like this. What do you do with those guys? You give them another route. Give them something else to focus on. You know what? If you're a good catcher, let's do something else. Let's become a better blocker. Let's keep your mouth closed, right? And that's why I really think if you watch what's happening in the league, guys are patrolling themselves now. And that's why I think the league is finding itself in trouble because now guys, I mean, some of the things that you see these guys doing, you ask yourself, really? Like the first thing I'm saying is, I'm like, really? Like, no way. That's not gonna happen in my freaking locker room, right? Or because you don't have to be, it's not, he can tell you, we lived this together. It was certain things you were not gonna do because we were all invested in it. Not just you being invested in it. And that's what I think when you see the games now, players are invested in themselves. We once played in an era where we were invested in each other. And that's the biggest difference of today's time. So a reality check comes very quickly to two guys like this. Listen here, sit your behind down. It's not that big, and I promise you it's not about you. Yeah, basically.
Okay, quick question.
Yeah.
So isolate either one of these star receivers.
Yeah.
So that means take them to dinner,
Yeah.
take them to your house.
Yeah, get them
right?
away from me, Skip,
Okay.
because if you don't never get them away from the facility, what happens is everything around the facility always brings them back to that point. And so I tell you, one of the greatest things I did, honestly, as a leader, was I opened my home up to a bunch of guys.
I know you did.
Because it brings them away from the noise and who's looking at them and who's critiquing them. I'm not critiquing you. I'm just simply saying, come to an environment that nobody won't look at you wrong. And that's what these guys, they need that one-on-one time with somebody that gives them a totally different perspective.
Did either of you ever get to the point with a young player of all but threatening bodily harm if they dared to threaten the unity of the locker room?
Yes, many times.
I would think so.
Many times.
And you might have gotten that, it's hypothetically with Dez or with Odell. Yeah. I think you'd get close to that, like, don't you dare. One more time, and you're going to have to answer to me.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that's the thing I'm saying. Take the coach out of it.
Yeah.
You got to deal every day. You got to come here and walk in and look at me every day. then that's a problem.
I used to call him all the time
did.
when I retired.
Yep.
I said I couldn't play now. I said, because see, I'm not a Baptist minister, but I had to put my hands on some of these people. Because you're not gonna destroy my locker room.
I hear you.
Because here's the
I
thing,
hear
this is the way I look at it.
Yep.
When a player gets out of line, it says more about the locker room than it does the player.
That's it.
Because see, I can control your behavior.
Yep.
Now see, maybe they've let these guys get a little bit too far out there to try to reel them in. Because see, here's the thing. Even when Dez got there, Jason Witten and Tony Romo were the leaders, but he didn't respect them.
No.
And because he doesn't respect them, he won't listen to anything they got to say.
I
He gonna
agree.
say, I got you,
Yeah.
but he really don't got it. And he doesn't care to get it. So, but the teams have done these guys a huge disservice, because the first time Dez missed a meeting, you can only find him so much in the CBA. You can only find him at 1,200, 1,500, and then you double it. The second time he missed a meeting, you know what I'd have done, Skip? I'd have suspended him contract detrimental to the team. See, you got.
You mean you would have, or
I would have, because you got to. Because Skip, if you miss one meeting, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a rookie, where is this heading when you become a good player in year 5?
Yeah.
And that's where Dez is now. See, we keep. Oh, he's 20. Hold on. Odell Beckham. He's 23. Even a child know not to act up in public.
Yeah.
My grandma used to tell me and my brother, say, boy, wherever y'all show up, I'm going to wear y'all.
Right. Go.
But you can't worry about, but you got to let him know, this is unacceptable. You're having individual success, Odell.
Yeah.
But we losing.
We had that. Remember, you remember this? We had that team meeting when the offense couldn't score a touchdown. Right? I'm not holding that against you, bro. But we had that team meeting.
Yes.
And what came out? Remember what came out of that team meeting? We are accountable to each other. That's the and man.
who led that meeting? Did you?
We had no choice. It was a bunch of.
It was simple as this, Skip. I was like, look, guys, you guys are on course to be one of the all-time great defenses.
By the way, no coaches involved,
No,
right?
no coaches.
Okay,
No,
go ahead.
No
go ahead.
coaches.
I said, you guys are on pace to be one of the all-time great defenses.
Yep.
Now, I know we're not carrying our weight, but you can't go nowhere without us.
Yep.
They don't take just the defense to the playoff and leave the offense at home.
Right.
Shay. So that's what they called me. They said, look, give us 10 points.
Yeah.
Don't turn it over.
And we win.
And we won't lose. We won't lose another game.
Fact.
So now I said, okay, guys, look. I said, I'm good for 7. I'm gonna get me one big play. That's when they started calling me Big Play Shay. Because I was good for 1. I'm gonna get you a touchdown.
Right.
Stover go kick a field goal or 2. Trent, don't turn it over.
Yeah.
Don't force it. As a matter of fact, don't even worry about throwing somebody open. If he ain't wide open, either throw it to him or throw it out of bounds.
But then defensively, what happened with that is when the media started attacking the offense,
They
then
practice.
we really?
Oh, okay.
No, you it's certain things you can't say about my offense. There's certain things you can't say about Shannon. You can't say about you can't do it because now it's off limits because of what we did as a collective unit. Now we all understand it, and that's the difference in today's
Quick
time.
point of order.
Yeah.
You keep calling him Shay, and I've never heard the origin of the nickname. Is it
Shay,
just off
yeah,
Shannon?
that's my name.
Okay,
for him.
when I first,
Why?
they used to call me Sharpe in Denver.
Right.
Okay.
I got to Baltimore, Jamie Sharper was there. They called him Sharpe. So they called me Shay. He started calling me Shay, so everybody called me Shay.
Okay, I got
and
it.
then I was only catching like one play, but it'd be for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then they say, okay, that's big,
Big
play,
play
Shay.
Shay. Okay, works.
I think in the Odell Beckham case,
Yeah.
I think John Mara's gonna have to get involved. I think that might be the only one that he'll listen to.
Maybe.
For Dez, he's already buddy with Jerry. Jerry's already willing to excuse. As long as you get on the field and you can contribute, hey, show up when you show up.
Yeah.
Just be ready for the game. But I think Mr. Mara is gonna have to get involved. The owner of the Giants is gonna have to call Mr. Beckham in and have a conversation with him.
Okay.
Because I don't know, because you heard him speak. He says, I play for the guys in the uniform. Well, Ben McAdoo, his head coach, is not in uniform. So he doesn't have the respect for him.
That's it.
So now you got to, Jerry Reese has spoken to him after the game, allegedly. He's still speaking out. Now you call the big gun in, the man of all men.
I don't know. I still don't know if that does what we're trying to do with Odell, right? I think Odell, bro, if it doesn't come from somebody who's done it, who's did that.
He's bigger than that. See, the thing what you had in your favor, you were always the best player in the locker room. He's now the best player in the locker room. Who is he gonna listen to? Yeah, Eli got 2 Super Bowls,
Yeah.
but he's not a better player than Odell. So who is he gonna listen to on the defense? See, the luxury that you had
Yeah.
is that you were always the best player.
Yeah.
So they's like, hold on, big dog talking, top dog speaking. Okay, I got to fall back. He's like, hold on, he's the biggest star in New York now that Jeter's retired. He's bigger than Eli. He's bigger than Carmelo. So now, who will he listen to?
Listen, okay, stardom, I get it. When I came in that locker room, no matter where I was, it was the respect that I had for you and Rod Woodson on what you had already did.
Yeah.
What I'm telling Eli Manning is, if you want to take the next level, as the next step as a leader,
Right.
then you got to control Odell Beckham. This ain't. We talking about this. Listen, you listen.
What did you say?
You listen to me.
What'd you say?
When?
What did you just say? The respect.
Absolutely.
What does Odell Beckham does not have for Eli Manning?
You think Odell Beckham does not respect Eli Manning? It's Eli's duty, Shay.
Absolutely.
It's Eli's duty
Yes,
to go get Odell Beckham back. It's not the head coach. It's not the owner.
I agree. But let me ask you a question. How many individual conversations do you think Eli's already had with Odell Beckham?
I don't know. I can't guess. I'm not gonna
I
guess.
bet you a golden doorknob to a bucket of cow manure, and I'll let you put up the cow manure, that he's had at least 2 conversations with him.
This out.
I guarantee you.
Well, I saw one on the sideline, right? We saw one.
Yeah, where you have the back of his
And
jersey.
we know he had a conversation with him after the Carolina game last year.
Right.
It's a different era now.
It
These
is,
guys
it
don't-
is.
These guys not coming in because they're coming into the league with 80,000, 100,000 followers.
Right.
And so now he's.
Right.
You and I, we weren't hanging out with no Tupac and Biggie.
No.
Dude hanging out with Drake.
Right.
It's a different era now.
a different
It's
era.
different from what you came when you
It
got
is.
into the league, and it's even different than when you
Because you had to
left.
earn it. You had to
Earn
earn
it.
it.
Earn it.
Respect in the league to be even thought about walking with anybody. You had to earn it, Skip. And I think that's one of the biggest issues.
Unfortunately for the New York Football Giants, there's no Ray Lewis in that locker room. There's no Shannon Sharpe. There's no longer a Michael Strahan. There's no longer a Justin Tuck.
Yep.
I'll even throw in my friend from ESPN, Antonio Pierce.
Exactly.
Even though he was out with Plaxico that night, but that's a whole nother. But the point is, Antonio would strike fear in people. He was a leader, a born
Yes.
leader.
Yep.
I don't think Eli Manning is a born leader, and I don't think he would strike a bit of fear if he pulls him aside. Like, Eli's not going to threaten bodily harm to Odell Beckham Jr.
No.
And if he did, Odell would probably laugh, like he wouldn't take it very seriously. So then we go back to the Cowboys. We go back to the 90s Cowboys. This is the irony of these conversations. Every locker room is very different. The leader of that dynasty in the early 90s was a quote-unquote diva receiver named Michael Irvin. And he could not lead himself off the field, but trust me, in that locker room,
Yes.
he was the king of that locker room. And if anybody dared to step out of line in the football context, Michael Irvin would hold him accountable. So it's a different dynamic. You also had Charles Haley in that locker room who would take nothing off nobody. These are strong, dominant personalities who kept the unity of the locker room headed in the north direction instead of ever going south.
Right.
And then you go back to the old Cowboys, it's Roger Staubach and D.D. Lewis and Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris. So you had dominant, strong personalities, yet in their day, remember Thomas Hollywood Henderson?
Yeah. Yep.
He went completely crazy, but he had cocaine issues. He's using cocaine during the Super Bowl game. He's got it attached to his back. They couldn't save him because once you're dealing with the drug problem, all bets are off.
Yeah.
You can't beat those demons. But I don't think we're dealing with, I don't know this for a fact, but I don't think we're dealing with drug problems with these two young receivers
not.
here, right?
We're not.
I hope not.
We're not.
But point is, there are no dominant personalities, to me, in either locker room. Jason Witten, he's a nice guy, but he's too nice a guy.
Yeah, there's no dominant men personality.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's
Yeah.
the difference.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
when I was in Denver early on, when you came into that locker room,
Yes, sir.
don't try and sell me nothing. Don't tell me about no stock tip.
Yep.
Don't tell me about this. Don't tell me about that. When you came to Dove Valley, we talking football.
Yes, sir.
Anything that's football related, I'm with you.
That's it.
If you're gonna be a distraction, you and I gonna have problems.
You got it.
You don't want them kind of problems.
Right.
When I went to Baltimore, my thing with Baltimore, I needed to leave it in a better place than what I found it. And he was the guy. We gravitated because when he was going through what he was going through in Atlanta, he was training with me. I was going to pick him up. I was talking. We spent a lot of nights, Skip, in my kitchen talking about what he wanted to become, and who he wanted to become.
Yep.
And so I wanted to instill some of their values that I had learned from the veteran players in Denver and said, this is how you police a locker room.
Right.
You never let it get out of hand. You don't have to talk to everybody, but you need to have a pulse and a feel to what's going on inside that locker room. And you can squash a lot of things before Coach Billick would ever have to hear about it, or Coach Harbaugh later on. That was the whole thing. That's why I say when you see guys with problems on the field, it says more about the locker room
It does.
than it does the player.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
you can control that
Yeah.
if you want to control it.
Right.
But if you're like, hey, it ain't my problem, hey, because everybody wants to pass the buck.
Right.
I'm not passing the buck on one of these guys.
And the team, Skip, that you're describing, they're describing is the teams that I used to sit back and marvel at. Because of the men
Men.
that play men. And man, let me tell you something. When you got a bunch of men that come together for one common goal, a selfish attitude, it cannot exist in that environment.
And that was John.
It just can't.
If someone got out of line, John wasn't gonna say anything. That was my job.
I got it.
That was my job.
Yeah.
John had more cachet. TD had more cachet. But the voice in that locker room that resonated when something went wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I had to do that. I had to do what I had to do.
But
'cause
once
I'm
they
talking about
become
winning.
superstars, if they don't respect someone else in the locker room, how do you reel them back in? That's the issue.